Hey guys, this is Gabriel.
It's Chris.
We're here to talk about God.
Yes.
Trying to put it simple, trying to put it sweet. It's like we're gonna hit you with it straight. So I've been on this road with God for I'd say since I was 16 when I was baptized. So I was in the Christian world since I was little, but never really took it serious until I was 16. You may ask yourself, how come I don't know where you may want to take it serious? Well, definitely a couple events in my life drove me to that. And it's not just going to God when you need help. It's not just going to Him as a backup plan or whatnot. Everything else didn't really seem to work or make sense, if that makes sense. Everything else just seemed to be a substitution for something. I always felt like I was reaching out for something. I always felt like I was trying to meet that quota, or I was never good enough until I truly gave myself to God. And at first, I'll be honest, I thought it was like, when I was younger, I was like, nah, I'm not gonna give myself to God quite yet. I'm gonna wait until I do what I wanna do. My little parties, substances, this, and that. You name it, man, you name it. But unfortunately, I dove into the rabbit hole, and ultimately, it just leaves you empty. Ultimately, it just keeps you going deeper, asking for more of this, more of that. What's the next high? What's gonna make me feel better? But I couldn't handle it anymore. It was more of a, what is this turning into, so to say? I'm following the next high, and it's just leaving me low every single time. I thought it was gonna make me feel better. Ultimately, it makes you feel better for the time being, but it doesn't really get you where you really want to be. So I broke down. I felt empty. I felt hopeless. Unfortunately, there was a lot of thoughts running through my head. Not positive thoughts, to be honest. It was mostly negative thoughts. But it feels clear as day. When I was 16, there was a time that was really rough. Everything else just stacked up on me, and I didn't really think I was gonna make it out. But God, He's miraculous. He came to me a way that I would never expect. And it may sound silly to some folks, but He came to me with a warm voice. As I was desperately reaching out to Him, He reached out to me. And my walk has not been perfect. Nobody's is. But I can tell you, definitely ever since turning my life to Him, it's definitely been so much better. I can actually walk with a purpose.
So, I've been religious, since I was a baby. I was baptized into the Catholic Church, and I've been walking through God this entire time. But to be completely honest, when I was in my younger years, I was not walking with God. I was saying I believed in Him and how I respected Him and how I love Him, but I wasn't doing the actions of somebody that loves God. Until I was about 15, something really bad happened in my family, something to do with separation and all this other crazy stuff. And, that's the first time where I really fell to my knees and I started to pray to God, really started talking to God. Not asking for, hey, I want some new shoes, I want this new video game, but I said, God, in your powerful and your mystic ways, please show me the road, show me how to continue my life, and please, keep my family together in that tough time. And it wasn't a couple days, it wasn't a couple weeks, it was months. Months went by, and I finally found the answer. God brought everything back together in my life, my family stayed together, everything else in life was moving forward. And then I started to look back, that's what I started really thinking. All the miracles that God has provided for me when I was in my younger years, I didn't even notice. because I would ask, I would receive it. I never look back at it. But God is so powerful. When you ask Him and you truly mean it, He gives it to you. And I was struggling with that thought, saying, "Wow, how can He be so giving to me? How can He give me another chance to have my family back if I've been so disrespectful to Him all this time?" And that's where I started changing my ways. I started to change what I did on my day to day. Stop hanging out with people. Stop doing actions that betrayed Him and betrayed His trust, because He's gave me the second chance that I was asking for. And there's only so many second chances that I can forgive myself for betraying Him in that aspect, because He won't stop forgiving me, but I can stop forgiving myself. So it's about 5 years now. I've been taking Him real. I've been taking this very serious, and I've been trying to change my life, because with that one thing He did for me, I can never turn my back on Him again. That's part one. So the big topic today is going to be life without God. And some may say that's eternal fire, eternal damnation. But what it truly is separation from the one person who knows us the most, who loves us the most, who created us, who, put His only Son to die for us. So that's what life without God is. It's lonely. Think about when you wake up in the morning, you see your mom, your dad, your grandparents, whoever you're living with. Now imagine you snap your fingers and gone. You never see them again. You never see another loved one, another person you care about. And you're there to think about all the bad things you've done. That is truly life without God. Silence, darkness, hopelessness. God brings us that hope, and we lose it by betraying Him.
It's okay. I think it's like you said, life without God is emptiness. You don't realize it now, but life without God ultimately is separation from Him, being apart. Once you truly get to know God and see His righteousness, it's a whole different thing, because you're no longer in desire of materialistic things to keep you fed. You're no longer after those things. You're after His grace, His glory, because ultimately He knows best. So at the end of the day, we may think we know best, but there's reasons why we go through what we go through. I can guarantee a lot of times there's at least one person can agree with this. You go through something and you think it's the worst thing that could ever happen to you, until you get over it. And you get to realize maybe it wasn't the worst thing that could have happened to you. And that you're glad that certain thing happened, because of that, something else came in exchange. Whether if it's knowledge, whether if it's a better position for yourself to be in, or whatever it may be, it's still like you get to realize that certain thing wasn't meant to destroy you. See, God sets tasks for us. He sends quests, so to say. They're not meant to destroy you. Even in the Bible, it states that He has good things for us. Not things to harm us, but things for good. In correction to it, it's in Jeremiah. The Lord declares, plans I have for you aren't to harm you. They're to prosper you. Plans to give you hope and a future.
So when they mention that future, we just talked about how being separation from God is a terrible thing. But the opposite, the contrary, the positive, the light, when we're with God, we have all the blessings of God. Everything in life goes well. All the challenges He gives us, we take and accept it. All the roads we go ahead, He knows it's already built for us. And it's a beautiful thing whenever you let Him take the wheel. whenever you understand that your journey's already written, you're just taking the steps during it. And with God, he's always there with you during your hard times, during your easy times. He's always there watching you and guiding you and giving you the best opportunities for his blessings. And he's so powerful that, on the highs of highs and the lows of lows, he will never step away from us. It's not like he already brought us to the promised land. We just bought that brand new car. We got a brand new house. Good job. And he's like, oh, job's done here. I'm walking away. No, he's there with us in that action. Now, let's say the contrary. You lost your job. A family member passed. A dog passed away. Something hurt you. He's not going to say, he's lost. He's so far away. I can't touch him. No. He goes so much closer to you because he understands the trials and tribulations you're going to go through that journey. Because he knows it's not going to be a couple of days of hurting. He knows it's going to be weeks, sometimes months, sometimes years, but he's there with you the entire time, and he's not letting go of you. He's physically touching your arm, physically holding you and hugging you and telling you it's going to be okay, because he knows how to get you out of it, because he's already written that journey for you. And you have to understand that when God is with you, he gives you the best blessings. And when you're with God, it's amazing, because you understand that your life isn't for me. No, your life is to what he has designed for us. And whenever you give up your personal desires, man, it's an eye-opening thing of how many things you can actually do in this world.
In addition to what you said, life will be definitely better with you following God. Definitely you will hit more trials than anything. But the trials aren't to break you. The trials are to strengthen you. Strengthen you in your weakness. Strengthen you where you are uncomfortable in. There's a lot of times where you'll be called to do things that you're not straight understanding. You're not really knowing what is going on around a lot of times, but that's when you have to walk with faith. See, walking without God, it's like getting to the end of a road. You already got everything that you wanted. You got a fancy car, you got luxury, you got nice clothes on you, but if the road ends, what's the point? You can't take all your good stuff. So let's say you see the end of the road, and at the other side of that road is a beautiful, 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 beautiful road made of gold. And just the most beautiful thing that you can ever imagine over there. And you can't take it with you. Like, you can't make it to that road. That road is blocked off for you at that point. That's what it is when you die. You've already set your faith. Your fate is already set. So you may ask yourself, how do you turn your life to God? Or how do you change your ways? A lot of times it's easier said than done.
My bad. Oh, you're good.
But you have to give it a try. You have to give yourself to God. And I'll tell you this, you don't have to give away everything that you're holding dear, because your love for him will have you walk away from it. If you're speaking to him and trying to get close to him with that truthful and the best intentions with your heart, and with your heart speaking, not just monetary gain because you want good stuff to come to your life. You got to come to him with an open heart, not just all this fakeness, Be honest with yourself and be honest with him, because he knows the hair is counted in your head. So why are you going to hide something from somebody that knows the truth? Be honest with yourself. Be honest with him is the best thing you could do.
So some of you are probably asking yourselves, how do we go ahead and approach God? How do we start that conversation? How do we start getting a relationship with him? Step one is the easiest one in the way that it works for me, because it talks to me. I talk to him when I pray, but it talks back to me when I'm reading it. It's going to be the Bible.
So there's a lot of misconceptions on how to read the Bible. There's a lot of different ideas and ways that you can look at it. But at least the way that it worked for me would be, think about it as a relationship. You know of yourself, but do you know of that person? You want to know that person so that you can get closer in your relationship, get understanding of who this person is, and continue moving forward with this person. It's like that. So ultimately, you want to know who Jesus is, God, you know? So you start off with Matthew, Luke, John, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, my apologies. But you want to start at the fundamental beginning of Jesus' life so that you can get an understanding of what he set down for us, what his death truly means, and resurrection. So getting to know who he is, getting to know his works, getting to know everything that he's done for us. So you gotta read it.
And then I mentioned it briefly. Second thing, prayer. You know, and I don't just mean thank you God for the food that I just got received. No. I mean true prayer where you're alone. It's private. It's an intimate thing between you and him. And you're truly not saying, hey God, I want a new car. I want a new watch. I want a new whatever it is. Not like that. I'm talking about truly going and talking to him. Hey God, this is who I am. He knows you already, but get to introduce yourself to him because he might already know you, but until you introduce yourself to him, you're a stranger. That's the second thing. You have to pray to him as a relationship building, as you're talking to a friend. Then you start that rapport. It's not begging, it's not asking, it's talking to your best friend. And then the third thing is, it's different. It's sometimes you gotta get out of your comfort zone. It's easy. Talk to people the way you would like to be talked to, right? That's a saying that people say normally, but it's different. If you want to walk the way of God, of Jesus, you have to then truly be that way. You have to be kind to others. You have to be respectful to others. You have to love your strangers. You have to love your neighbors. You have to love everybody the same way Jesus loves you, the same way that God loves you. And that's really important because as long as you're sharing the love, God will share that love tenfold. That's a beautiful thing.
Now, another way to get closer to God, a lot of you might know, but it's fasting. Some may say, what is fasting? Fasting is abstracting from a certain thing. A lot of people know it as abstracting from food. But if it's not safe for you to do food, don't do food. You can also abstract from things you truly like. For me, as an example, it'll be either my phone or my PlayStation. It's things that you truly, truly like, whether if it's in a sense of you're putting it down so that you can put more time for God. You're putting it down so that you can get brain fart, kid. Anyway, you're putting that down so that you can get closer to God. You're showing devotion to God. And also, in addition to that, praising God with music as well. The music that you listen to is big influence on you. I don't know if you noticed, but if you listen to a sad song, ultimately it will make you sad. If you listen to an upbeat, happy song, you're gonna feel shaky, in a good way, of course. But we must watch the things that we listen to, things that pry into our ears, because music has a lot of power. As it has power with your emotions, you best believe it does got power. So I'd also recommend trying to switch it up a little bit into the positive sense of worship music. I can't count how many times worship music has saved my day, has given me the strength to push forward and remember God's grace. A lot of times you will be put in a situation where you're not liking where you are, whether if it's work, you just want it to be over. And maybe you're going through a rough time, whether if it's through a relationship and you're like trying to keep it together. Man, music like that and remembering it and remembering God's grace and his love, because I myself, I'm human, and when I'm going through a tough time, sometimes at times the first instinct is to think, oh man, it's not going my way. What am I doing wrong? Where is the Lord right now? But the further you go in your relationship with God, you get to see that everything has a purpose. Pain, happiness, everything has a purpose. Like every trial that comes your way, there's a reason for it. But fasting and watching your ears is a big part.
And the last thing is something that takes a while for a lot of people. You know, it's not something you're gonna do tomorrow, but it's talking to your friends, your neighbors, your brothers, your sisters, your parents, family members, anybody, and telling them who God is. Because you're not just gonna walk into God's world without anybody mentioning to him. You were told who God was, and you accepted that fact, and then you continued on your journey. Now, the hardest thing is stepping out your comfort zone, because there will be people that disrespect you, that say hateful things to you, that disrespect God. But you have to remember, when you're speaking to people, you have to be in the image of God. You have to show them who God is. You have to show that anger doesn't affect you. All you do is spread positivity and love. And you have to make sure that, if your friend is going down a wrong road, you have to tell them, hey man, this is not it. This is not right. You have to, because how are you going to sit on your high horse, on your throne, let's say, and say, hey, I'm going to make it, but he's not? No. You have to go ahead and save him the same way you were saved, because that's the most important one. Evangelizing, sharing the gospel, talking to people about it. Even if you're saying, have a God bless day, right there, you just evangelize. You might not notice it. It could be the most minuscule thing in your day, right? But guess what? Somewhere down the line in your life, that will set the spark in someone's heart to be like, you know what? I'll read the Bible. I'll give it a try. And right there, you started that spark, and God will now take over that and make that spark into a flame.
Here, let me add something. My bad for interrupting.
You're good.
But in the sense of brain fart, what you were saying, that there will be times where you will be tempted. You will not be the happiest person, but we have to show them that we are upset. No. Okay, I was testing you. So we will be upset. Like it takes time to work on our emotions. It's not gonna come to you like tomorrow. Sometimes you have to remove yourself from certain situations. Like if somebody is cursing at you in front of you right now, or threatening to throw some hands, like, be the bigger person and walk away. Ultimately, what do you gain from whooping somebody's tail? What do you gain from cussing back at somebody? For all we know, that person was having a horrendous day, and they were just like throwing it out on you. Unfortunate as it is, but how much better are we if we show them the same thing that they show us? We're not any better. If anything, we're just as bad. So we have to set an example. And of course it's gonna be hard. Nobody said it was gonna be easy. There's times where I have to bite my own tongue before speaking to people. And there's times where unfortunately I let my tongue speak, and it's a double-edged sword many times. As the Bible states, your tongue is a double-edged sword, so you must watch what you speak. So it's not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna be the easiest thing in the world. Don't beat yourself up over it if you tried. The most important thing is that you try and you take it into consideration that is not how you should be. That you should set an example for yourself, for others, and for anybody that could be watching. Honestly, like anybody that is watching, believe it or not, it could exponentially be a great difference. It could be the difference between life and death sometimes, believe it or not. The world that we live in, unfortunately, it's pretty messed up. And God bless you, or you have an amazing day. May God be with you. That could be detrimentally uplifting to somebody. Like it could be, I know it was once for me. So keep positivity. Keep it out there.
And you have to remember to wrap this part up, the most powerful thing you have isn't your wealth, isn't your physical attributes, isn't your mental. It's your words,
Mm-hmm.
what your heart portrays. Because one thing I've learned throughout these years of living life is that when I speak without thinking, it's really coming from my heart. And if I'm speaking bad things, it's because it's really coming out of me. I might have to bite my tongue, but that's truly what I believe. It's by accident, of course. But I've learned that it can't come, I can't have hatred. I can't be rude. I can't be slick. That can't come out of me naturally. So you have to learn to adapt to who you really want to be in the future and turn it from I have to think about it to I'm living it. So it's coming out of my heart. I don't have to think about it no more. I'm just speaking it. I'm speaking positivity. I'm speaking love. I'm speaking happiness, because your words are the most powerful things we have. And like you said, the God bless you. Have a blessed day. Might save your friend's life. Might save a stranger that never knew you, that doesn't even know you exist. You just saying have a great day randomly, excuse me, these things make them feel so valid in life that they may say, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to hurt myself. I'm not going to mutilate myself. I'm not going to do all these crazy things simply for a few words. So the things we talked about today, we introduced ourselves and our journey and when we truly came into the world of God and how we truly saw what Christ gave us. And then the second thing, we talked about life without him and how it's brutal, it's lonely, it's dark, it's a separation from the God who created us, who loves us so much. The third thing, we talked about how life is with God, and it's so perfect, it's so beautiful, and that's the perfect way to go. And then we also talked about how to pray. And with that prayer, it's so powerful. And we guys, we gave you the 5 options that are the easiest, the most accessible way to get into things, so it's not too hard to do. Obviously step 5 in that is the hardest one, but it's very accessible, and the rest of them are on your own, and it's for you to create your own destiny on that.
So, like you said, to wrap it up, we choose our own destiny. That's one of the most beautiful things about God. He allows us to choose our own destiny. We could choose to be with him. We could choose to be without him. And I'm telling you, I've tried it before, don't recommend it. Life without God, it is absolutely not worth living. Because once you've had God's grace and mercy, life changes. You see things much differently. So we'll leave this to say, it's your choice, but at least give it a try. It's not going to be an easy road. It never is an easy road. So I can't promise you it'll be easy, but it sure as heck be worth it. Hey, I appreciate you guys for listening in. You guys have a good one. Peace out.